You're listening to a bored-to-death Mandocast, talking Disney Plus's show, The Mandalorian, in easily digestible chunks.
Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, and other assorted gender assignations. Welcome to a bored-to-death Mandocast. I am Jay, being joined by
Chris,
and we have a special guest in Rode. He's a friend of Chris's who came up to pay a visit, and when he heard we were about to do another episode of Mandalorian, he was all in for it. So
yeah. It's
we were just talking about a bunch of Star Wars stuff before we sat down to record all this. At the time, I was like, we should probably hold on to this, but then I was like, no, that would be a full-on Ramblecast, and we're not looking to do that for this episode.
No, we would probably be all day at this. And we would still be in the first movie.
Yeah, if we wanted to do a Ramblecast about Star Wars, we could absolutely do that. But that's for another time, perhaps. Now is for Baby Yoda and Daddy Mando. So
we are now officially watching the Baby Yoda show.
The Baby Yoda show with Baby Yoda featuring the Mandalorian.
And some other people who just happened to show up for today.
Yeah, basically. So last episode, Mando picked up a fare, as it were,
a frog lady.
The frog lady to take her to an estuary planet. I forget the name of it now.
I imagine that it's going to be somewhat similar to Dagobah. I'm just picturing it as like a swampy area.
From what I've seen of some of the still shots of it, no. It's going to be more like a water planet in general.
Oh, well, close enough.
Yeah, but in last episode it was just supposed to be a simple run, and then he got pulled over by the space cops, Space Force.
Yes,
He got pulled over by the Space Force, and then it was all ice and dark and spiders.
And it was the same planet from Rebels.
Yes, this is something we actually did find. We actually did sort of look up after the fact that they were on the far side of the planet from Rebels, a Tolan or something like that.
Yeah, it was the one that Bendu.
The Bendu was on. Not is
AKA
was.
Tom
Well, it's not really clear if Bendu is dead or not.
I'm not even sure.
Yeah, Bendu is a strange case, but
he was wise with the Force.
No, he's regenerating.
Yeah, because he's
because it's Tom Baker. And so Mando's ship is kind of wrecked, but he managed to get it airborne, and now they're limping off to the estuary planet or whatever. And the episode, from what I've seen, is called, well, it's not listed here, but from what I've seen, it's called The Heiress. And we can see right here from the still image, looks like Sasha Banks. So we're, I think, about to find out who she plays. I still am holding out hope that it's Sabine Wren.
And obviously an older version of Sabine.
Obviously.
Gotta be.
So, yeah. The episode description just says, the Mandalorian braves high seas and meets unexpected allies, which sounds encouraging. But then he was...
Ghost crew.
but then again, he was told when he picked up the frog lady that she and her husband can point him in the direction of a Mandalorian covert wherever they're going.
Maybe this is the way.
Well, this is the way.
We have spoken.
Yes. So that about wraps it up for this intro, and we'll see you after the episode.
Hey, while we're watching this episode, you should go ahead and toss us a like and subscribe. If you want to reach out, do it via our social media on Facebook or Twitter at BTD_Bingecast. The Bored to Death Clan is part of the CKCC Radio podcast tribe, including J Bunny's Music Hub, the Race Nerd Podcast, Real Paranormal Talk, Ranking Tracks, Motivational Moves, Girls Who Like, and The Nerd Table. Imperial credits may not be worth much, but remember to support CKCC Radio on Patreon. I have spoken.
And we're back. That was a fun episode.
Woo. Another.
More! Come on, chapter 12 out now.
This is the way.
This is the way.
We have spoken.
So, Mando arrives. They arrive on Trask. It's a bit of a bumpy landing.
He gets like.
Are we sure we want to use the word landing?
He gets like.
It's a crash!
He gets like 10 feet from the landing pad.
And then it just goes sideways into the water.
Like the entire time, I was thinking it was gonna be like the landing from X-Men, where Cyclops landed the Blackbird on Liberty Island, and it just goes boom. Right? I was expecting that. No.
Yeah, I was expecting it to cut out and just drop the last few feet. Just clang.
What that looked like was me trying to teach my sister how to drive, and it was like, no. Just no. As my door
it just suddenly went sideways.
I had no door. I had no driver's side door. This was the last time.
Road, if you can't tell, has some interesting stories.
But yeah, like they have to get like a modified walker,
like AT-AT walker.
AT-AT walker that's now a crane, to literally fish them out and then dropped it onto the landing pad.
And Frog Lady gets reunited with her husband.
Yay.
I'm honestly surprised Frog Lady didn't just swim out like, all right, I'm good. Y'all are on your own.
Fuck your couch.
And Frog Dad points into a Quarren, I think, who can
guide him to
other Mandalorians. And he's like, yeah, I can take you. It's going to cost you. It's a few hours sail.
Yeah, a few hours sail.
Well,
yeah,
it's a trap.
Once again, traps are us.
Yeah,
we have traps.
They basically lured him out into the middle of nowhere.
Basically, to steal his armor. To steal his armor
because it's Beskar. It's valuable. Mando is essentially walking around in like a shiny gold.
Shiny
silver. He's walking around with like a bunch of bling hanging off of him.
He is nothing but pure 100% bling.
Yeah.
And everyone's eyes are like, I see the rest of my life walking before me.
Well, if I could get my hands on the helmet alone, I'd be set for life.
Well, remember what happened the first time he walked into that bar after he got it, and everybody just like immediately eyeballed him?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so Mando gets shoved into basically a watery like tank with some sort of creature in there.
He doesn't get shoved. He dives in after...
That's right. They sent the baby in. The baby got nommed on by some creature in there. Just sort of swallowed the cradle whole.
I can't think of the name of that creature for Save My Life.
Yeah.
And I've seen it in like 3 other things, especially in the Clone Wars.
It's a Kraken. It's a baby Kraken.
The Kraken has been unleashed. I'm just surprised they have a baby Kraken on their ship.
There's good eating on a Kraken if you do it right.
Yeah, well.
But Mando dives in after him, and they basically close the tank up, and they're waiting for him to drown, basically, so they can then just peel the armor off. And then the Mandalorians show up.
It was It was the night. What do they call it?
Death Watch.
No. They were known as something else before Death Watch. The
Knights of Mandalore or something. I don't know. I don't remember.
It was like the Night Owls or some shit like that. Because if you look at their helmets,
they were Night Watch before. Now they are Death Watch.
Okay.
They became Death Watch after the death of the Queen.
Right. That's what it was. And well, I don't know. Yeah. But they show up and Mando thanks them. But when they pull their helmets off to talk to him,
it is Shock City because of who it is.
Go ahead, Road, if you want to.
Oh, no. Go.
It's Katie Sackhoff.
Good Lord. Thank you, Jesus.
Starbuck from the new Battlestar Galactica. And she's playing Bo-Katan.
I cannot even begin to tell you how hyped I am.
As soon as I saw Bo-Katan, I was like, yeah!
Bo-Katan? Wait a minute, Starbuck? Bo-Katan? My brain can't handle this much pain and joy.
And WWE Sasha Banks was another Mandalorian. I don't know that they ever specified who she was.
I think she was just supposed to be just like
another Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Bo-Katan is always seen at least with 2 other trusted guns at her side,
and
at
so
all
that's
times.
basically what.
So these are her trusted guns currently. And again, I am fully impressed once more by the quality and the number of people who are just popping out of the woodwork just to be in this. To be seen in Star Wars.
They get the freaking, the bounty hunt. No, not the, one of the dudes from Transformers 4, as the Imperial captain in this.
Yeah, Titus Welliver.
Yeah, he was the guy who basically like threatened Mark Wahlberg's daughter in Age of Extinction. It was that guy, the one who
guy who plays scumbags, basically.
Essentially,
he really does.
He's a character. There's a good character. You know, if you are a good character actor, you will never be out of work.
Nope.
Because they are always going to need people who can play those kinds of characters. But when they pull the helmets off, and Mando's immediately like,
"You're not Mandalorian."
Because you took your helmet off. You never take your helmet off, and
but
they immediately are like,
he did not realize. Oh yes, they are very, very much Mandalorian.
She was like, and she was like, "Bitch, I was born on Mandalore." Yeah, it was. And then they basically said, "You're a child of the Watch," and basically it's like a cult that is working to try to bring the old ways of Mandalore back. And so that explains a lot about the differences between the tribe that we saw and what we've seen of Mandalorians in like Clone Wars and Rebels, where they're not all about keeping the helmets on and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta take it off every now and then.
What you have to understand is the Mandalorians who first assaulted the galaxy were the Mandalore's original people. They were basically, their whole purpose was to find a strong enemy,
find the strongest enemy and fight it.
And of course, that was at the time those mystical Jedi that they had never seen before. And again, they were impressed by their strength, and they do the same thing that they have done through time. If we find a strong enemy we cannot beat, we wait, grow stronger, and face them again. Mm-hmm. They were in their waiting period.
Yep. This is the way.
The problem is the waiting period actually lasted into the actual Galactic War.
The Galactic Civil War.
They never had the chance to face the Jedi a second time, which they were literally building up towards. That's their entire purpose. And you can see that during the Clone Wars, and especially during Rebels, they were literally just sitting there in the waiting period, growing stronger.
It's like, we'll get our chance.
Right.
And I'm fairly certain Ahsoka essentially arresting Maul at the end of the Clone Wars helped also. Because he had pretty much taken over at that point.
Yeah. And
yeah,
they were solely impressed by this one, not even a full Jedi, as she admits that she's no longer with the Order, but they were still fully impressed by the simple fact that this one person comes in here, saves us, and captures Maul. Mm-hmm. To the point that will forever, Mandalorians, they remember everything forever. They're never going to forget that. Mm-hmm. And so, again, Ahsoka Tano is friend for life. Jedi, no.
Yeah.
Ahsoka Tano, yes.
And so Mando is our Mando is like, you guys are not, this is not, what you guys are doing is not the way. And he flies off with Baby Yoda. When he gets back to town, he gets accosted by a bunch of Quarren who are just like, you killed my brother, so now I'm gonna kill your pet. And then Bo-Katan and her crew just show up and it's like, he didn't kill your brother. I did. And they just, bam, just kill all of them.
10 seconds later, there
dead.
was plenty of sushi.
Yes. Well, and then they explained to Mando what they need help with. They are that Trask is a black market moon for weapons dealers, and there's an Imperial freighter nearby with a bunch of weapons on it that they want to hijack. And they want to hijack the weapons specifically, and they're like, we need a fourth person to help us take it down. And Mando's like, if you do this for me, he was like, I have a quest. I need to reunite the Foundling with the Jedi.
And of course, the way with Mandalorian, if you help me with this, I will help you with yours.
Mm-hmm. This is the way.
This is the way.
And so and Bo-Katan is like, I can tell you where, I can point you in the right direction if you help us out. Mando's like, okay. He leaves Baby Yoda with the frog parents.
Which, it's funny because
they're sort of like cuddling up to him and having him cuddle up to the tank.
And I mean, he is not even hiding his face.
He's looking at it like
face first, and they're like, "Food, yeah."
And he sees one of the eggs hatch, and he's just sort of looking at the little tadpole that comes out, just like, it's a froggy nuggy,
finger food.
And so they storm the freighter. As it's still in atmosphere, because the way the laws on Trask work, it's like it's not allowed to accelerate into orbit until it's clear of shipping lanes.
Until it clears the moors, it can't accelerate. But we are talking about, once again, Imperial Stormtroopers.
Yes, Imperial Stormtroopers, whom are renowned for their
not being able to aim properly, but I think that's...
We remember, what was the guy's name from last season?
The two dudes who were sitting there.
No, like from the prisoner episode, the one who had the little gun on the arm on his back.
Oh, yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
I forget the actor's name. I forget the character's name. But he basically, when Mando is told that he's a former Imperial sharpshooter, and Mando just goes, "That's not saying much." And he just turns around and goes, "I wasn't a stormtrooper, wise ass." But it's basically a ship full of stormtroopers versus 4 Mandalorians, and the stormtroopers didn't stand a fucking chance.
I mean,
and
wow,
yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm former military, so it's like you should be able to hit the side of a barn. Yeah, well,
that's the thing. Sasha Banks' character is like, they can. No, it wasn't her. It was the other. It was the dude who was just sort of like, they couldn't hit the side of a bantha.
Come on, look at the size of this. You can actually close your eyes and hit at least a point at it. These guys.
It's like you are in a narrow hallway. Just aim down the hallway. Maybe spin your gun like that. You should be able to hit something.
Never before has the floor and ceiling had so many holes in it.
It was, and they fight back to the cargo hold because because at that time they're mostly interested in securing the weapons.
Right.
And the officer back there is like, "Shut the doors! Shut the doors! Which doors? All of them!"
And they're talking to the captain.
They're talking to the pilots.
No, to the captain.
The captain, and
the captain's
just like,
okay. It's like, we have them trapped, sir. It's like, they're in the cargo control area. They're where? The cargo control area.
And next thing you know,
the hatch opens.
The hatch for the cargo bay opens wide.
They all get sucked straight out.
That captain's face is just priceless.
The captain's face was like, it is good so Lord. Hard to get good help.
Good Lord, why am I here? Why? Just why?
And then
he has to contact his superior officer,
who is Moff Gideon.
Good God, the worst person on earth to be.
To be your boss. He is the worst boss.
And he just gave him an order. He told him simply, they are not to get that supply.
So and he's like, I need reinforcements. It's like, if they've already taken everything except the cockpit, then that's not going. Then we already know the ship is lost. You know what to do. So long live the Empire.
Without so much as even a bat of his eye, he's taken out his.
He just takes out his gun, bang bang,
and both pilots are gone, and he's nosediving this bitch.
Yep.
Right into the ocean.
Well, and But we also sort of overlooked the fact that after they captured the weapons, Bo-Katan is then like, we're taking the whole ship. And Mando's like, that is not what I signed up for.
You said weapons.
We said the weapons only. I need to get back to... I have my own job to do. I have to get back to the Foundling. And she's like, these are the terms of the deal. You know, and she goes, this is the way. It's just like, fucking bitch. Oh.
Clearly, you could tell Mandalorian was not impressed by these Mandos and was like, you know what, I need to get back to my people.
Katie Sackhoff is really good at playing that bitch of a character.
Oh, yeah.
Starbuck, people.
Starbuck.
No, I was thinking of her character from the last Riddick film.
No. You need to see Starbuck. We are going to do Battlestar Galactica, new one. You will sit there and you will say, my God, Starbuck owns this shit.
Right before we started recording again for the discussion, he got to talking about Battlestar Galactica and Edward James Olmos as Adama.
So say we all.
So say we all. This is the way.
I mean, this is like my childhood.
Yes.
Advance. I have gotten my advance on Battlestar Galactica in the new series, and now I'm having it like magnified with the Mandalorian and how it just continues to keep with the actual traditional way of telling story, and how it likes to pull from all sources.
And it does a whole lot of show don't tell.
Yeah,
they don't have to explain a whole lot of this stuff to you. They expect you to pick up from context. This is important.
So naturally, they manage to save the ship, and then the bomb is dropped on your head.
Well, before that, it's like we learn that Bo-Katan is specifically looking for one more thing before she retakes the throne of Mandalore. Yeah. She is looking for the Darksaber.
And we already know who has that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and she's asking the captain. It's like, where is it? Does he have it? And he basically is like, if you have to ask, you already know. And she's like, you will tell me. He's like, and then he basically takes a suicide pill.
Which I don't even know if that was a pill. That looked like his teeth just said, hey,
well,
power.
It was essentially the same thing like the cyanide pill hidden in a tooth, except instead of cyanide, it was just
like
pure electricity.
It looked like the freaking Emperor was going off in his mouth laughing at him like,
unlimited
force lightning.
What were you saying about Thrawn? About how
the other officers.
Yeah,
Thrawn, the pilots basically.
Basically, it's already standard, but Thrawn was at one time Imperial Special Forces and Intelligence, which is where
Moff Gideon
is. Moff Gideon was actually one of Thrawn's right-hand men, which explains why he's like,
so ruthless.
Do not want to fuck with this guy because
Thrawn
do not play.
Yeah,
and
Thrawn
they
does
know
not
how
play.
to get at you. And
if they name drop Thrawn in this,
I'm
gonna be yes.
Look. After the name drop that
we haven't even touched on that. After they secure the ship, Bo-Katan is just sort of like says to him, once you're done with your quest, the offer still stands to join us in retaking Mandalore, which he seems somewhat amenable to. But she tells him, if you go to the city of Kalandor or something like that on the forest moon of Corvus,
you will find
Ahsoka Tano. And we immediately all started applauding because it was just like, yes! we knew that Ahsoka was going to be in this, but it's like getting confirmation that that's who he is going to meet to get hooked up with the Jedi. Crew of the Ghost, maybe.
See, I kind of spoiled myself on that one when I looked it up on IMDb. Like, this is before, right before the season came out. Like, that's how I know that Michael Biehn is in this season, but we haven't seen him yet.
And we don't know who he's going to play.
I'm just gonna say it right now, he could be an older Ezra Bridger.
And
that's the thing. If they find Ezra, that means Thrawn.
Yes, live action Thrawn, please.
And if we're going that route, we are in for one hell of a treat. because Thrawn basically takes the remnants of what the Empire
takes the Imperial
is,
Remnant
and literally solidifies it into something that would make the poor wimpy ass Emperor cry tears of, oh my God, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
Thrawn,
Thrawn basically, in the Legends continuity, took the Imperial Remnant, lashed it together, made it stronger, and is like, yeah, okay, the Emperor may be dead, but we can still kick all your asses.
yeah, and I mean, literally, he took over. Mm-hmm. He was it. And he was something you did not want to mess with.
Because he was a brilliant strategist.
And the funny thing is that he was the only alien in the Empire. Because if you notice, the best...
the Empire is actually anti-alien, period.
And the fact that he not only was in the Empire, but rose to the rank of Grand Admiral.
He was Grand Moff.
Grand Admiral was his rank in the Legends novels.
Well, Moff is still what they call him, but still,
he's on the same level as Tarkin, basically.
Yeah, this guy is just like, he could look at any battle situation, and he could strategize 100 different ways for it to go, and how to maneuver it to always win for himself.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't just that. He made a habit of studying the artwork of other cultures, and from there was able to basically figure out how that culture thought, so he could begin strategizing against them.
Yeah, I mean,
you remember in Rebels he had like some of the artwork.
Yeah, honestly, I remember it was all in his office.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, the fact that he was beaten was by, I don't care how you read it, pure dumb luck.
And the Force. The Force was probably playing a key part since he was going up against a Jedi.
Wow. I'm sorry. It's just like that.
But yeah, if Thrawn comes back in, here's an idea. They stop Gideon, but by that point Thrawn's already back. And Thrawn is just sort of like, well, that sucks, but I don't need him. I'm a threat all by myself. That would be
if we get Thrawn at the end of the Mandalorian, I think we're in store for what Disney is actually setting us up for now, because they've already stated.
Oh yeah, we were talking about this before we came down to.
They are getting ready to go back and redo the way it should be done. Basically
retcon the sequel trilogy out.
Right. So the last 3 movies, they go bye-bye, which we all are like celebrating in happiness and joy.
So does this mean that we would get Duel of the Fates to replace Rise of Skywalker?
Well, Duel of the Fates was what was originally going to be the thing that sort of tried to salvage Force Awakens and Last Jedi. If those two are gone, Duel of the Fates might be something completely different by the time we get there.
Well, either way, we would first have to get through Thrawn.
Because Thrawn
is in his own way, he is a central force that must be dealt with, and he is not going to be one of those fly-by-night, one movie and done. This guy is a presence.
Yes. He, if he goes down in one movie, that's a waste of a brilliant character.
We need to boot Kathleen Kennedy and tell her, stop putting your finger on this. Let us have our way.
Yes, this is the way.
Thrawn is at a minimum 2 to 3 movies hard. Mm-hmm. Because let's just face it, Thrawn kicked everyone's ass.
Even if he lost a battle, it still worked to his benefit somehow.
Right.
Because at that point it may have been like war of attrition. He's just like, okay, you managed to capture that system, but how much did it cost you?
Yeah.
And while you're there trying to secure that system, I can now take the rest of my fleet over here and capture this one.
Because we're basically in the books. Thrawn was actually thrown out of the system to some dark area.
The unknown regions.
In the unknown regions. And he had his own shipbuilding fleet.
So
This is
that's why when he came back,
he was at a power level that the Rebels Alliance,
the New Republic,
yeah, now they are the New Republic at this time. They did not have anywhere near the numbers that he had
to be able to
and
contest
it's
it, yeah.
actually been suggested that he found the same foundry that Revan
Exegol.
found.
Oh no, okay.
Yeah, he found the foundry that Revan had found. Because when Revan came back,
This
he
is all
had
the
his
legend
own
stuff that I
fleet.
couldn't keep up with. Damn.
So he found the same place where Revan built his ships and said, "Fleet time." Built fleet. All right, we're ready to go kick somebody's ass.
Yep.
Let's do this shit.
It was.
And he came back with a force.
Yeah. So yeah, if
And
Thrawn
that
ends up
force was-
Thrawn ends up being the a threat in this, that's awesome. And Zeke is returned from work and GameStop, and he's got some sort of gift.
He's handing down power and presence to people.
Scrolls. What are these
Scrolls? The sacred scrolls.
The sacred
of fear.
scrolls. What are these? What could they be? Oh, riding to Valhalla.
Shiny and chrome.
It's an Assassin's Creed Valhalla poster. Thank you. I still got to get my hands on that game. I'm busy
Yes,
playing
you do.
Destiny, but yeah. So we're still all super hyped for this series.
Next episode
Cannot come soon enough.
The second I see Ahsoka Tano,
We are
I
going
might
to-
just
we are-
faint.
we are
I
all
might
going-
faint because
you are going to hear
we
our
already-
screams from space.
we already know who is playing her, and it's just like my dream wifey is playing Ahsoka Tano. Okay, I'm done. I'm done.
Rhodes waifu is going to be is in the show playing one of his favorite characters.
Shoot, she ended up becoming everybody's favorite character.
Yeah, that's true.
Seriously, yeah.
We talked about that, and I think in the Rapcast for season 7,
Yeah, where like
it's just like everybody when she was first introduced, it was just like, oh, what the hell is this? God damn it! Why is this even here? By the like second or third season, everyone was like, we love this character.
Love you, Ahsoka.
And when she left the
I mean-
series for
I
like
mean,
a season, everyone was like,
the-
no.
The thing about it is, when you think of the Clone Wars, everyone gets it kind of mixed up. Everyone thinks it's telling you about how Anakin slowly begins to fall to the dark side, and you see the slow progression of it. No, Clone Wars was not about Anakin at all. Clone Wars was actually the story of Ahsoka Tano. Hence why they had to finally finish up the series. Finally season, and you saw it was solely on her because Clone Wars was her story. From
And we saw,
beginning to
but
end.
we saw how her disillusionment with the Jedi and the way everything was going reflected on Anakin and helped accelerate his downfall.
Right.
At the same time, they used her story to tell his story.
Right, and that's why the last episode of the Clone Wars,
Oh, man.
you saw that final closure because, again, there was no particular reason for Vader to come there for anything other than the fact that he needed to see what happened to Ahsoka.
Vader didn't need to see. Anakin needed to see.
Right.
And when he saw basically that evidence
The-
that
the
basically
la-
suggested
The
she's
last
gone,
evidence of anything dealing with Anakin was right there.
then he could turn and be Vader
He
for the
could be
rest of it.
Vader now.
That was sort of reflected in that final shot of him disappearing in the reflection on the clone trooper's visor.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Moving. So
I'm sorry, but I just thought that while Clone Wars had a great ending, it was also kind of sad if you really think about it.
Oh yeah. Because we all knew.
We
where it was going to lead.
we
were
knew
hoping-
we'd hoping we didn't have to see it in such perfect detail.
But it's like when Order 66 came along and Rex is resisting it as long as he can. We're like, no.
And it's just like all the troopers that they had been through with from start to finish. suddenly they are just brainwashed and turned to tell, we must kill you now. And it's just like, you could see it in Asako Tano's face. She did not want to hurt a single one of them because
that's why she basically told Rex, stun rounds only. She doesn't want to kill them. She didn't want to kill them.
It didn't really matter in the end because
they all died.
Crashed into a freaking moon.
Well, it got ripped apart by Maul because he just went into the engine room and was just sort of like, brah, and
I understand you needed a distraction, but wow, that's the wrong distraction person to send in.
At any rate, Mandalorian, the Heiress was a fantastic episode. I need more.
That was 10 out of 10 with an extra 10 added to it.
Well, and please finish the Boba Fett series. When Chris tagged me in a thing saying that they were working on a mini-series about Boba Fett, my response was just like, inject it directly into my veins, please. Just hook it into my veins.
And I mean, we all already see exactly where the steps are, and we understand that, okay,
we know where he's going to end up.
Sarlacc, and we're starting to think now that the reason he was able to escape the Sarlacc is because Sarlacc was attacked by a Krayt dragon, which allowed him to get away. He has to dump his armor in order to escape, hence why
the Jawas picked it up.
And
then
now
the Marshal got it.
And now we are here, and we have a Boba Fett roaming the wastelands without armor.
He doesn't need the armor to be a badass, though.
No, he's not. He doesn't need it. But again, we are talking about Boba Fett. All he has to do is go back to Jabba's base. Remember, Jabba had said he's not the only Mandalorian who works for him.
Did he ever say that?
Yes. He actually has it. He actually admitted he has Mandalorians under his.
Well, but
literally, he just needs to go back to Jabba's palace. He can get fitted real quick.
I was gonna say, well, maybe he goes. Maybe Ahsoka takes him back to Tatooine for some reason, and takes Mando back to Tatooine, and that's how we get Mando versus Boba. Because Mando versus Boba, is going to be a fantastic sequence to see.
Especially since
youth and skill versus age and treachery.
Especially since Boba has zero love for a Jedi. And you have, of course, Baby Yoda. Mando's gonna want to eat you alive. That shit. You're doing what? Ooh. You're taking what to where? To who? Come here, sir. I want to speak. Allow me to teach you the ways of my people.
This is the way. Pop knuckle. Bang, bang, bang.
Bang, bang, bang.
Yep.
Fire missile.
We can talk for hours about Star Wars, but maybe we should save that for another day. Do a Ramblecast about it.
Yeah, I think we definitely need to hit a Ramblecast because we got too much knowledge.
Yeah, just when we were talking before we watched the episode. Yeah, I was like, we need to get him in. I was thinking to myself, we need to get him in for a Ramblecast for about Star Wars
at some point in time.
At some point,
we're talking about somebody who literally grew up, and actually, is only a few years behind the actual first episode of Star Wars. So it's just like, yeah, I know my Star Wars.
Yep.
I even had all the comic books.
Did you have the Ewok movie?
We don't talk these things.
But I think that about wraps it up for this Mandocast. So been great fun. We're really looking forward to next week. But for Chris and Rode, I'm Jay. We'll see you next time. This is the way.
Thanks for listening to a Bored to Death Mandocast. Be sure to check out all the episodes of The Mandalorian on Disney Plus and give us a like and subscribe. This is the way.